So we can begin.
Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. You are beautiful just the way you are. Step into the love. You're illuminated by the glory of God's love. Step into the truth. From within your abundance overflows. Our love can change one life. One life can change the world. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me. Step with me. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me. Step with me. Step into the light.
Hello, hello, and welcome one and all. I'm Reverend Sunshine Day, and I get to be the spiritual director at Vida Spiritual Learning Center. This is the place that you can call home and you can discover exactly who you are, that you are the unique, unrepeatable, magnificent, powerful way that life is showing up in human form. We want to welcome you to this amazing, auspicious day. It's 02202022. Welcome, welcome. If you're into numbers, then congratulations if you were born on this day. We are a loving community, and I want to remind us of who we are and what we do together, what we get to be together, by sharing with you our vision and mission statement. Now, I'm going to read it to us in English and in Spanish so that you can really get a gist and a feeling of exactly who we are and what we're about. By valuing and empowering all, we inspire a fulfilling and joyous life. A valorar y potenciar todo, inspiramos una vida plena y alegre. So this is not just our vision and mission statement as a spiritual community, but this is also our very personal vision and mission statement, that as we bring this into practice, that we in fact awaken to our spiritual magnificence. And speaking of awakening to our spiritual magnificence, you know, Sunday mornings for us is really all about having time in our practice in affirmation and meditation and prayer and hearing an inspirational message and being with one another in the beloved community. And now is that time for us to awaken to our spiritual magnificence by engaging in meditation and then in an opening prayer. And today we have our beloved practitioner, Gary Takasian, leading us in our spiritual practice of meditation and prayer. Thank you so much, Gary.
Welcome to our time of meditation. The New Thought writer and teacher Neville Goddard once wrote, "God is imagination, and imagination is God." In our time together, we're going to tap that power of imagination that in science of mind we understand to be the presence of the divine within, expressing as creativity. And we're going to use that divine force to create a quiet place of personal retreat, one which we can visit any time we choose for rest and mental rejuvenation. So let's begin by relaxing and allowing any busyness of the day to gently fall away, bringing our attention to the here and now and to our breathing. Let's take several deep breaths, breathing in all the way and holding for a moment, and then breathing out completely. And again, breathing in, holding for a moment, and releasing. And let your breathing now find its natural rhythm, and begin releasing any tension that you may have been holding, releasing more with each breath out, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out. And as any remaining tension continues to melt away, your body may even feel as though it's floating, and that's perfectly okay. In this peaceful, relaxed state, and for the purpose of our journey, imagine yourself in perfect health and vitality. All is well in your world. And now, imagine you take time off from your usual daily routine, and you're going to spend time in a perfectly peaceful place that is yours alone. Where would you spend that time off? Perhaps it's a favorite place that you have been in the past, or somewhere you know you would like to visit, or even a new place that you design and can see only in your mind's eye. Let's spend a few moments now and bring that vision into focus. See yourself there, enjoying the beauty and the serenity. As you begin to settle into your special place, pay attention to your surroundings. What is it like there? Are you inside or outside? Is it day or night? What time of year is it? What do you see around you? What sounds can you hear? Is there a particular scent that you detect? As you begin to answer these questions, we'll now spend several minutes and fill in as much detail of your personal place as you can. The more, the better. This is a time to let your imagination run free. As you continue to focus on your breathing, know that the place you created is yours alone. You might even want to give it a unique name, so that by remembering the name, the scene comes to mind in its fullness. This is your personal retreat place, and you can visit it whenever you need to take a few minutes or longer away from the busyness of the day. And now, let us begin to bring our awareness back into the space in which you find yourself. Being aware of your body, perhaps moving arms, legs, neck, noticing your feet on the floor, and once again being fully present in this time and in this place. Join with me now in a word of prayer. Together, we know and affirm that there is but one power and presence in the universe, one creative mind that has brought forth all things into being, and that each of us are unique and individual expressions of that divine mind. We share presence. And what I know for this community today is that we have the ability to create. And we know that as we create our future, we can rely on the words of our founder, Ernest Holmes, who said that our future is not predicated on the past. And that means that we have the freedom of our thought to create anew the future that we desire. And that involves being able to let go of the past and not allow that to become something that we must abide by. That we let go of the past and we create an entirely new and prosperous future for each of us. And so I just give thanks for knowing that we have that imbued within us to be able to create and to bring forth and to manifest that which we desire. And for that, I am eternally grateful. And so, knowing that, I now release all of that into the creative law, knowing that it is accomplished as I have spoken it. And so let us say together, and so it is, and now it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Gary Takasian, for that wonderful meditation and invocation. Let's show Gary some love. Yes, thank you, Gary. I'm filled up already, and we're only a few minutes into our time together today. I do have just a couple of announcements, reminders, if you will. After service, Practitioner with a Prayer is available for you. It's what we call Minute Miracles. You spend a few moments one-on-one with one of our practitioners in a Zoom breakout group, and they will know the spiritual truth for you. It's what we do really, really well, and something that has helped me over the years, and I know it'll help you too. And then the other part we do is our Ministry of Prayer. And as I say, you can amplify the power of your prayer by sharing your prayer request using that link to the prayer request form that I put in the chat earlier. And what happens, you fill out that request, and our ministers and practitioners pray with you, pray over those requests over the coming days and weeks so that you are doubly, triply, quadruply, infinitely supported in your powerful intentions. And I do want to thank all the folks that help bring our gathering and keep our community going. Thanks to, again, our practitioner of the day, Gary Takasian. Beautifully done. Thank you, Gary. And Reverend Sunshine has a powerful message for us today, so thank you for that. Thanks to those folks that are out looking into our live stream. So welcome our live streamers, and thanks to those folks that are interacting with our live stream guests. Thanks to our Leadership Council for keeping the whole operation going and shepherding us through this magnificent transformational process that we, the Vita Spiritual Learning Center, are in the midst of, and you are too. Thanks to our music team for continuing to create and support and hold the consciousness through music. And thanks to all of you for joining us here today. It makes all the difference. And returning to a spiritual practice, which we call giving as a spiritual practice, and in any way that you give, it becomes a high spiritual practice. If you have that consciousness, if you have that intention. Now, the ways that you can give to our community, you can send your gift to 3350 East 7th Street, Box 529 in Long Beach, California, zip code 90804. You might use your bill pay service through your bank. That's how I do it lately. You can use the donate link or button to pay with a credit card or a debit card. There is a link in the chat right now to do a donate that way. Or you can Zelle, if you've got that service, you can Zelle to vita@vitaslc.org. And as I mentioned, this becomes a high spiritual practice, holding that consciousness or setting that intention. And the feeling that comes up for me as I am mindful of my giving is a feeling of maybe abundance or generosity, or just feeling so full or so much in the flow of God's good that it's just natural for me to extend it or circulate my giving, my gifts, my blessings in that way. So I invite you just to bring that to your conscious awareness, to feel it in your being. And we say this simultaneously, that we say our statement of giving simultaneously in Spanish and English. So this is a time where I invite you to unmute yourselves so we can all hear each other in sort of a chamber of giving, right? So if you're ready, we'll begin. Abundance
La abundancia
flows in my
fluye por
life.
mi vida.
I am
Estoy
blessed
bendecido
with
con
prosperity.
prosperidad.
I
Doy
give
con un
with
sentimiento
generosity.
de generosidad.
Yes.
Sí.
I tithe
Diezmo
on
sobre la
faith,
fe y
belief,
la
with a
creencia y con
consciousness
una
of love.
conciencia de amor.
My gift is a
Mi
divine
regalo es la
circulation through
circulación
me that
divina a
now
través de
benefits
mí,
and
que ahora
grows our
beneficia
spiritual
y hace
community
crecer
and
nuestra
beyond.
comunidad espiritual y más
Now
allá.
it is.
Y ahora es.
So I invite you just to mute yourselves now and sing along as we prepare for today's messages by singing Walking in the Spirit.
I'm walking in the Spirit. Walking in the Spirit. Walking in the Spirit. The Spirit of one God. Loving in the Spirit. Loving in the Spirit. Loving in the Spirit. The Spirit of one God. Moving in the Spirit. Oh, moving. I'm moving. In the Spirit. Oh, the Spirit. The Spirit. Oh, God. Growing in the Spirit.
there is no better day than today to talk about our topic. This year, we've been looking at living everyday wonder, and in the month of February, we're diving deep, in particular within. And when I say diving deep, I say diving deep because today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about forgive to live. And when I say forgive to live, I am no stranger to the opportunities, the many, many, many opportunities to forgive in order to live my best life. So I think without further ado, we're just going to jump right into this topic. And what I want to take us to first and foremost is actually our affirmation for today, which is I forgive and I am free. I forgive and I am free. Really? Is freedom the result of forgiveness? And that's a great question. How many of us have actually believed the myths about forgiveness, right? To forgive is to forget. I mean, there's a whole slew of myths of what it means to forgive, right? To forgive is to forget, forgive and forget. It removes all the consequences. We're letting that person off the hook. We're acting as if it didn't happen. It's a quick fix. It's a sign of weakness. If you forgive, you're weak. You're a chump. That forgiveness is an event. It's this whole drawn out event, and it's like the parting of the skies. Oh, and this big event that's very dramatic. It's either pardoning, condoning, or excusing people's behavior, and that it removes the consequences. And that's on there twice because it's that sense of, oh my gosh, we're letting people off the hook. And am I really letting people off the hook? Is our affirmation true? And that's what we're really going to find out today. We're going to find out if, in fact, when I forgive, I'm free. If when I forgive, that there's this burden that's lifted from me. Now, I want you to bring to mind an incident rather, because what we're going to do is present an opportunity for forgiveness. And it is indeed an opportunity that you deserve. But I want you to think about an incident where you may have resentments, where you may be angry, where someone has insulted you, or someone has brought your name harm, or they've done something to you or said something about you where you are feeling angry and hurt and resentful, and that there's this opportunity that arises for self-forgiveness. You got that idea in your mind? Okay. So let's work with it. Some ideas and some incidences are actually much bigger than others because we say they are. Something in passing, or I don't really care about that person, so they don't really bug me, they don't really harm me. But of course, then a family member says something, and it's like, oh yeah, it's unforgivable. And you hear people talk about all the time, that their behavior is unforgivable, or I'll never forgive that person for what they did, or that doctor, or that lawyer, or that person, that police officer. And I've been around, I had the great opportunity to meet a man who practiced like what I call like the ultimate forgiveness. And, I got a chance to spend time with Azim Kamisa. And he's a local of San Diego County whose son was killed in a gang initiation while his son was delivering a pizza. And, to tell you just a little bit about his story, and it seems like this, grand event again, that this, the parting of the skies happened. He was able to forgive the boy, the young man who pulled the trigger and who was responsible for his son's death. And the way he did that was through a process and through some steps, of course. It just doesn't like, oh, I forgive you and we move on. I mean, here's his son, his seed, his blood, his family, someone so close and whom he was so proud of. And his son was in college and delivering pizzas to make ends meet. And to be able to find within him and to search and to be able through some process forgive not only the person who pulled the trigger, but also himself, Azim forgiving himself, because he recognized that he had some responsibility in that he is living in a society that makes that okay, or that makes it necessary that for some initiation that it is okay to take the life of another. That within his own consciousness and his own awareness, that somehow or another he too was responsible for the environment that allows that kind of activity to happen. It's interesting because I don't necessarily think of myself as being responsible for the events in my neighborhood or the events in the world. And what I get to recognize and realize too is that my consciousness contributes to war. My consciousness contributes to famine. My consciousness contributes to the state of affairs. And to the degree in which I am actively seeing a world that works for everyone, doing my part to eliminate my own resentments and fears and doubts, to that degree, then I am then contributing in a positive way to the elimination of resentment, to the elimination of war, to the elimination of the things that hurt and harm humanity as a whole. Let's take a look here at what the Buddha says. It says, he has insulted me. He has abused me. He has robbed me. He who lives with these thoughts will never be free from hatred, for hatred never conquers hatred. Only love can be conquered by hatred. This is the law. Hatred is conquered only by love. Whew. Can I get there? Can I be there? Can I get to that place of love? Can I get to that place where I no longer see humanity or people from that place of he's done this to me, he's done that to me, from this place of victimhood? Can I move out of victimhood? Can I move out of victimhood? And by means of moving out of victimhood, I get this opportunity to recognize that when I stay in victimhood, life is always happening to me, and I get to throw my hands up and then blame you. But that does nothing for my freedom, because I am always at the mercy of life happening to me. But when I release victimhood and move into that step that life happens by me, that I actually do contribute to the consciousness and the greater consciousness of humanity, that I actually can begin to create and participate in creating a world that works for all. So what is forgiveness? Well, let's take a look at what forgiveness is. First of all, forgiveness is a gift that you give to yourself. And it's a decision, it's a choice that you make, and it's an important decision if you want to be happy. Do you want to stay stuck in the resentment and the anger and the fear and the pain? Do you want to stay stuck in the past? Because forgiveness is really about the past. Forgiveness happens in the present moment, but what we're doing is we are actually releasing the past and not allowing the past, which by the way does not even exist, to rule my current circumstances and situations. By choosing to let go of the past and move forward, I can have a brighter future. And it is taking the negative emotions and turning them into something positive. It's breaking the cycle of hatred and resentment and fear and anger. It's transforming and fostering more positive emotions. And it's a practice that doesn't take a lifetime, but that benefits us in the long haul. Check out what Catherine Ponder says. She says, when you hold resentment towards another, you are bound to that person or condition by an emotional link that is stronger than steel. Forgiveness is the only way to dissolve that link and get free. Oh, Catherine. You know, it's interesting because, immediately when I saw that quote, I thought to myself, when two people have a child together, they're bound to each other for a lifetime, because of that child. It's the same with resentments. How many people are you linked to? How many people am I linked to because I have a resentment? And then that resentment, as my beloved Reverend Carol Huntley says, that resentment, when I have that resentment, I know when the resentment is gone, when that person has safe passage through my mind. When I can think about that person and it's not like, ooh, and I don't have that feeling within my body temple. Now, it's interesting because when Catherine Ponder talks about the emotional link, that emotional link is stronger than steel, she calls it. And that we're linked to that person, place, thing, condition because we are now emotionally connected. And there is a way to dissolve that link. That dissolving of that link is forgiveness. Why would I want to have someone living in my mind rent-free? If I'm going to think about something, don't I want to begin to think about love and joy and peace and happiness and creating my own freedom? So let's get right to how that begins to happen. And of course, the first thing out of my face is going to be that we get to that place of forgiveness through spiritual practice. But I even want to get a little more rudimentary and really get a little more basic and really give some practical application to how this gets done. First of all, we have to admit that we were hurt. We have to admit that someone did us wrong. We have to acknowledge that and not, oh, it's okay, or I'm too big for that. In the inside, you're steaming. We have to first recognize and acknowledge that we are hurt, that we are harmed, that we feel some type of way about what has gone down, what has transpired. We get to acknowledge the wrongdoing. This person did me wrong. And we get to feel those feelings. No one's asking you to act as if it doesn't hurt or if you're not affected or impacted by it. One of the things to recognize is how it feels in your body. Recognizing maybe some energy in your tummy, or that your hands are sweating, or that your face is turning red, or that you feel hot, or that, you feel your heart increase in its pace. And you get to feel that, and you get to acknowledge, and you get to say, I'm angry. Oh, I don't like when this happens. There's nothing wrong with expressing the anger and getting it from out of you there, to bringing it forward and to really acknowledging and expressing, I don't like this. I don't like when you do that. I'm angry. I'm hurt. This hurts. And it doesn't matter who you say it to. What matters is that you get it out from you and that you acknowledge that it has happened, that it is there. it does you no good to try to bottle it up and keep it as if this is not the time to have a poker face. You're not at the poker table. You can let them see you sweat. It's not a big deal because it's not a game. Your life is not a game. You don't have to pretend as if you're not hurt or harmed or as if someone didn't do you wrong. You get to express it. You get to say it. You get to acknowledge it. Notice what happened. That after you get it out, there's this, that after you've reached that peak, that climax of just expressing it and acknowledging it, there comes this release, this natural body release. You might even want to yawn. You might want to stretch. You might want to just cry and release. But there is this release that happens. And it is then in that release that you get to make a choice. Do I want to stay here in this anger? Do I want to live in this unforgiveness? Do I want to set myself free and allow that hurt, that anger, that pain, that grief to continue to just flow from my body until it is dissolved into the nothingness from which it came? I get to make a decision in that point in time, right then and there. For me to forgive means that I begin to heal, and that I begin my healing process, and I move out of victimhood into life happens by me, and I get to choose what happens in my life. When I choose to live in unforgiveness and not forgive, then I get to continue suffering and being victim and being victimized, and life is happening to me. But hear me, we get to feel the pain, and we get to feel the pain fully, because unless we actually feel it, we cannot move on. We cannot deny what has happened. So that's step two. Step two is that we must continue to give up all the resulting resentments. We may, in fact, use our spiritual mind treatment to see the other person as divine, infinite intelligence sees that divine person. To recognize that that person is also the unique and unrepeatable way that life is showing up in human form. We might use our meditation to recognize our oneness, that life, that power, that presence that is animating that person is the same power and presence that is animating me. We might use our practice of affirmations to remind ourselves that I forgive and I am free. To remind ourselves that I am the divine way that spirit shows up in human form. And that person is the divine way that spirit shows up in human form. And that in this human experience, I make mistakes and the other person makes mistakes as well. It's interesting because I get to ask myself if I'm willing to release these additional resentments that come up, or if I'm willing to pay the price to live while I am suffering over and over again. Am I willing to pay the price that anger has when it is festered up in my body, or am I ready to forgive, move forward, and heal? And it's a process. It's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. And yet, when I make that decision, the healing begins. You know, and lastly, if this person is in your life, if there's someone who's important to you, you may want to set up a completion or a forgiveness appointment and get complete with that person. The other option is to write a letter. And on that envelope, right? I forgive you. I set you free. I set myself free. And then burn it or bury it, but don't send it. But forgive. Have that be a ritual, a part of your life, that you have this opportunity to take charge of your own life instead of letting some resentment run and ruin your living and your joy. You're the only one who can have your joy taken from you. So these little things that build up into these big things, release them, speak them. I resent you. I don't like it when you. Get it out of you. Have that peak, that climax of just feeling it. I feel hurt by you. I'm so angry. And letting it out. Acknowledging the pain, making the decision to forgive, because forgiveness is about my own healing. It's about my own moving forward. I'm the one in charge of my life, not my resentment, not my anger, not my unforgiveness. I'm not giving my unforgiveness the opportunity to run my life, because it will be deadly. It will be deadly. Instead, the moment I make that decision, I'm going to choose forgiveness. I'm going to still feel it. These resentments, this anger is still going to come up. But I'm going to choose forgiveness. I can watch how my life begins to grow and unfold. So quickly, let's just go over a couple more things. And that is, reminding us of our spiritual practices that we can engage in, because when we engage in our daily and our weekly spiritual practices, we are affirming our lives. We're living in life by me and life through me. And remembering what we want to experience. In here, in all of these great things that I want to experience, there's nothing here that I want to experience disconnectedness. Or that I want to experience hatred. No, if I want to experience love and peace and connectedness, and if I want to move into a greater expression of love, then what I get the opportunity to do is I get to engage in those spiritual practices. I get to take the steps for forgiveness. Here are the benefits: an increased feeling of love, an enhanced capacity to trust. Wow, that stress is reduced. Freedom from the control of events of the past. The past has no power over me. My health, my physical health is improved because that stress level is gone. And because now I have exercised this tool of forgiveness, I have decreased anger and decreased hostility. I am able to freely speak and express, and I have an increased capacity of joy and love and a calm disposition. So, beloveds, make the decision with me and begin by using this affirmation this week. I forgive and I am free. I forgive and I am free. That incident that you thought of, feel the feelings. Allow yourself to say, I'm so angry, I'm so hurt, I'm so disappointed, I don't like it when I resent you. Allow them to come up and out of you. There's more room on the outside of you than on the inside of you. And then make the decision to forgive. I choose to forgive, and now I live. Know that you are loved and supported, and that we are here for you. Bye for now. And so it is. Make that decision. I just want to remind us that our practitioners are available after service today for prayer. Might be a good time to take them up on some forgiveness prayer, if that is what's up for you. But without further ado, let us let us do our closing prayer, which is a song, and we will fellowship after service. Happy birthday. This is our prayer.
A song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices. In love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices. In love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices. In love we stand. We lift our voices. In love we stand. We lift our voices. In love we stand.
To all our live streamers, see you again next week. Bye for now.